Recapped. 2 years ago. A dark, woodland-lined road. Rose Hathaway, Zoe Deutsch, rides in an automobile with her exceptional buddy Vasilisa, Lissa, Dragomir, Lucy Fry, and Lissa's family. A inebriated driver's auto crosses the median line, slamming into the Dragomir's auto and killing absolutely everyone. However, Rose and Lissa. The have-an effect on of the crash throws Lissa from the car, and, bloodied and injured, she crawls throughout the pavement so she can draw close Rose's hand, which hangs out of the car. Present day. Portland, Oregon. Rose sits up in bed, gasping, her eyes altering from gold to hazel. She hears Lissa crying in the room subsequent to hers and bangs on the intervening wall. Rose makes her way to Lissa's bedroom and rouses her pal from her dream-crammed sleep. They talk about the one-sided connection that approves Rose to trip Lissa's emotions, see via her eyes, and share her dreams. Rose dreamed of the accident due to the fact Lissa dreamed of the accident. 12 months ago, the pair ran away from Vampire Academy, and now they attempt to combination in with human beings and keep away from attracting risky attention. Lissa calms down, then indicates signs and symptoms of bodily weakness. Rose asks her when she ultimate ate, and Lissa admits she hasn't eaten for a while. Rose invitations her to the kitchen and presents to make her favorite. Rose pulls a bottle of water from the refrigerator, sits at the desk and takes a swig from the bottle. Lissa asks, "Are you certain about this?" Rose nods, pulls the strap of her bra and her tank top down to naked her shoulder and neck and tells Lissa, "Bon appétit." Lissa crouches, her fangs elongating, and bites into her buddy's shoulder. Her head falling back, mouth open and eyes closed, Rose indicates no signal of pain. When Lissa has completed Rose's temporary weak, she then stands and strikes over to the sink to take a piece of kitchen roll to wipe her shoulder. Oscar, Lissa's cat, sits on the counter searching out the window, and following his gaze Rose sees a man standing on the avenue under, staring up into the kitchen window earlier than he strikes out of her view. Rose tells Lissa they have to go away now, that the man or woman coming for them is a guardian, no longer a Strigoi, however that they ought to flee as they have practiced before. Rose and Lissa sneak out of their condominium and strive to make their getaway via a darkish alley. Rose spots two guardians standing close to her vehicle, so she gets rid of the gas cap from a close-by motorbike tank, inserts a rag which she douses with vodka, and then secures the manage bars in position, telling Lissa to go. The bike is heard and then viewed heading down the avenue in the course of the guardians, the rag now in flames. The tank explodes, knocking the two guardians to the ground. Rose leaps into motion via attacking and disabling the guardians as they achieve their feat. Rose and Lissa then head to the car, Rose electronically unlocking the car whilst explaining to Lissa that they will make their way north into Canada. It is at this time that Lissa's incapability to guard herself, and dislike of violence, is made clear. When Rose notices Oscar tucked in Lissa's backpack, Lissa explains that she couldn't simply abandon him. Another guardian then all at once assaults the pair and is shortly disabled by using Rose. Lissa then attracts Rose's interest to a giant figure, in a lengthy black coat, striding in the direction of them. The man declares in a Russian accent, "Princess Vasilisa Dragomir, my title is Dmitry Belikov, Danila Kozlovsky. I've come to take you return to St. Vladimir's Academy." Rose strikes unexpectedly in Dmitry's route, pointing out that, to get to her you will have to go via me. Rose is then considered jogging towards Dmitry, who lunges and affects her chest, with a straight-armed flat-exceeded punch, which lifts her backwards off her feet into the air. She is then caught via Dmitry earlier than impacting the floor and thereby stopping her from sustaining an addition injury. Rural Montana. Lissa is considered in the return seat of an SUV stroking Oscar, a guardian to both sides. Her interest diverts to Rose, in the front passenger seat, as she starts off evolve to regain consciousness. Rose appears round and sees Dmitry using the car which, alongside with two others, winds its way via an good-sized wooded countryside. Rose explains in voiceover, "My satisfactory pal Lissa Dragomir is a royal member of a magical historical race, the Moroi. The Moroi do not put on black capes, turn into bats or sleep in coffins. Daylight annoys but would not kill them, and they do not sparkle either. However, yes, like most creatures with fangs, the Moroi stay off blood. However, they do not stay forever. It truly is why they want us. I identify as Rose Hathaway, and like these different guys, I'm a Dhampir. We're the protectors, the guardians. Only one half Moroi. I can consume a bacon cheeseburger or something else I want. Dhampir lives are committed to defending the Moroi. We stay via one easy expression: they come first. Rose appears round to take a look at Lissa, then returns her interest to her hand, which is handcuffed to the door, taking such restraint as a backhanded praise of her skills. Rose talks, however, elicits minimal dialogue from Dmitri, even when she glimpses and feedback on the tattoo on his neck that suggests his 6 Strigoi kills. Rose unexpectedly smiles and giggles from an unstated remark she has obtained from Lissa. Dmitri appears at Rose and then views, by the rear-view mirror, Lissa additionally smiling with leisure, and truly makes the connection about the female bond. It is nighttime when the convoy arrives at the closed gates to St. Vladimir's Academy. Dmitri, by using earpiece radio link, tries to contact these that shield the gates, however receives no reply. Everyone appears round at the darkened woods. A physique affects the bonnet of the SUV as concurrently the rear facet home windows are shattered by means of Strigoi trying to obtain entry. A guardian is pulled out and launched into the air to have an effect on with a tree. The different guardians exit their cars intending to shield Lissa. Dmitri then exits the car, ordering the women to stay the place you are. A combat ensues between the two opposing sides, and it is clear that they have been attacked via Strigoi. Rose struggles to free herself from the handcuffs, subsequently succeeding as the region around the cars seems to be quiet and deserted by using each sides. Rose leaves the automobile to seem around. A single Strigoi drops from a tree and advances towards her. Rose backs away in concern as guardians show up from both aspects to assault and be defeated by means of the Strigoi, who continues to advance. Finally, through most appropriate numbers, the guardians defeat the Strigoi, the usage of silver stakes. Rose advances to appear down upon the Strigoi, who offers a remaining gasp earlier than dying. Rose explains in voiceover, and then there is the 1/3 kind. The Strigoi, evil bloodsuckers that can solely come out at night, and can solely be killed with a silver stake. It takes 5 of our first rate to kill one of their worst. If you are fortunate, they will simply rip you apart, however they can additionally flip you into one of them. The Strigoi have been the proper monsters of our nightmares. For all the stories, the warnings and the education movies, I had in no way considered one up close. Dmitri ushers Rose into the SUV and they proceed alongside the driveway main to the academy, arriving at 1 a.m., in the center of the faculty day. Rose explains in voiceover, Moroi and Dhampir college students come from all over the world to hone their abilities. Both agencies take primary training, English, math, science, etc., together. However, after 4th period, they cut up into 2 groups. Moroi college students and the Dhampir students. The Dhampir vampires can devour everyday meals and stroll in daylight, and they spend their time education and mastering unique types of bodily fight so that when they graduate, they can end up the guardian of a Moroi. The Moroi go to lessons, the place they study to manipulate and enhance their magical abilities. Each Moroi vampire dedicates himself or herself to a company of magic tied to the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. Some Moroi are greater exclusive than others, and the secret society of Moroi have their personal government which alternates leaders from 12 royal families. Queen Tatiana is the present-day ruler, however Lissa is in the mix, so you can see why her leaving the academy was once such a scandal and me supporting her was once worse. Lissa and Rose stroll alongside the pathway, the place dozens of college students are strolling on the commons to their dorms or their subsequent classes, and they all see Lissa's and Rose's return to the school. Lissa sees her ex-boyfriend Aaron, Edward Hallcroft, and his new female friend Mia, Sammy Gale. Dmitri escorts the 2 women to the workplace of the headmistress, Kirova, Olga Korolenko. In her office, Kirova verbally tears into Rose, who she believes masterminded their escape. Lissa tries to shield Rose, however Kirova assumes she's a horrible have an impact on the princess. The assembly is interrupted with the aid of the entrance of Viktor Dashkov, Gabriel Byrne, any other royal Moroi. Lissa and Rose are extremely joyful to see him, as he was once a shut buddy of Lissa's father and consequently their staunch advocate. They're dismayed to see that Victor is in the ultimate levels of Sandowski syndrome, which is eventually deadly to the Moroi. Looking round the workplace, Rose notices a file marked Karp, and she asks Kirova about Ms. Karp, Claire Foy, one of the lady's preferred teachers, who she believes ought to shed some mild on the cause the women fled the academy. According to Kirova, Ms. Karp no longer works at the academy, and no one in the room will give an explanation for why. Kirova then goes on to give an explanation for that Lissa's royal reputation and her relation to the cutting-edge queen capacity that she would no longer expel her. Alternatively, she desires to kick Rose out of Vampire Academy. Kirova then scoffs Rose, asking what she would do if she had to depart the school. As a Dhampir reduce off from the neighborhood and barring a social safety quantity, she would now not be in a position to locate work, and Kirova thinks she would have to flip to prostitution. Dmitri interrupts Kirova by means of explaining that they have the bond, which is viewed to be an asset. Victor thinks Rose did a satisfactory job of maintaining Lissa safe. Kirova is alternatively nonetheless dead set on expelling Rose, so Lissa ends to the use of compulsion, a manufacturer of Moroi magic that permits her to impact a person's ideas and their actions. Kirova then approves Rose to continue to be at the academy, with restrictions. Before they depart Kirova's office, the headmistress offers Rose a telegram from her mom, one of the high-quality guardians alive. Rose is strolling by myself alongside the academy pathways when she passes a statue of Saint Vladimir, and has a flashback to a preceding time. Rose and Lissa are out for Lissa to exercise her magic whilst the different students are sleeping. Lissa, nonetheless grieving for her family, is confused over the truth that she nevertheless hasn't declared a magic, and Rose tries to reassure that she nonetheless has time. Rose holds up a stick which Lissa units a light the usage of magic, then again nearly at once it is extinguished by means of water flowing from a bottle which Rose had earlier positioned on the ground. Lissa, surprisingly, has two magical abilities. Ms. Karp acceded through and overheard their conversation. With her flyaway hair and goth, I see umbrella, she is needless to say an eccentric. She tells Lissa that she herself had in no way formally declared a magic either, and seemed to be how she grew to become out. Ms. Karp then turns and walks away. While discussing Ms. Karp's eccentricities, a crow collides with the statue of Saint Vladimir and falls to the ground. Lissa rushes to assist it, however Rose factors out that it is dying. Kneeling, Lissa places her hand over the crow and closes her eyes in concentration. Soon magic flows through Lissa's hand to the crow, restoration it. The crow, absolutely recovered, takes off and continues its flight, drawing their interest to Ms. Karp gazing them from an higher window in the academy. Rose then turns in time to see Lissa crumple to the floor in a useless faint. Back in the existing Rose appears up to the window from which Ms. Karp witnessed the incident and notes that it is now boarded up. Lissa is viewed going to take a drink from a water fountain. Mia, who research water magic, motives the water to splash Lissa in the face. A fellow student is viewed recording the event. Aaron comes over to take a look at that Lissa is okay, and he meekly tells her that deep down, Mia is a properly person. Lest Lissa get any ideas, Mia storms over to her and snaps, "Back off, bitch. He's mine now," and factors out that Lissa is now at the backside of the reputation hill instead than at the top. After a speedy sarcastic comeback, Lissa turns and walks away in apparent misery. On the Dhampir coaching grounds, various students are discussing Dmitri and Rose meeting, and that Dmitri handed her ass on a plate. Rose, attending her first Dhampir coaching due to the fact returning to Vampire Academy, fortunately greets Mason, Cameron Monaghan, an ancient buddy and classmate. Mason cannot agree with they eluded Dmitri and the different guardians for almost a year. Having ignored a 12 months of coaching, Mason effortlessly wins a hand-to-hand bout on the education mat, after which Rose strikes apart and sits as her bond with Lissa kicks in. Lissa is considered returning to her former hiding place, a quiet however spacious nook in the Academy's library. Lissa finds that in her absence, Christian Ozera, Dominic Sherwood, has made her hiding region his own. Lissa tells him to leave, and Christian calls her spoiled. Lissa cries and asks him what he is aware of about struggling and loss, which as it turns out, is a lot. His mother and father willingly became Strigoi, dooming Christian to continuously have to contend with his peers' suspicions. Christian additionally theorizes on how Lissa fed whilst on the road, and Lissa begs him no longer to share his theories with his friends. Christian remarks he has none. Rose remarks to herself, as the imaginative and prescient unfolds, that Christian is bizarre and awful for Lissa. She does have to admit that he selected fireplace as his magic, hearth being deadly to the Strigoi. At least humans mourned for Lissa's family, Christian factors out. His mother and father may have been monsters, however they have been nonetheless his parents, and the different Moroi cheered their deaths. Even although they spend most of the time arguing, Lissa and Christian for sure like every other. Rose then has a one-on-one education session with Dimitri. They talk about the exclusive bond that she has with Lissa, and the significance of extra coaching if she hopes to stay as Lissa's predominant bodyguard. After their attempting night, Lissa and Rose go to Vladimir Academy's cafeteria. The Moroi require sparkling blood to stay, however in contrast to the Strigoi will no longer into consuming it through force. So they discover inclined humans, who are into vampires, to come and stay at the academy for a year in alternate for permitting the instructors and college students to feed on them. The reminiscences of which are compulsed out of them at the cease of the year. Rose finds the association disquieting, however Lissa enjoys getting to understand the humans, and has unique favorites. While ready for Lissa, Rose eliminates the but unopened telegram from her mom, however is interrupted by using Victor sitting in the ready room. He appears susceptible and pale, however he greets her warmly. Victor asks Rose if, in addition to looking after Lissa, she may watch out for his loved daughter Natalie, Sarah Hyland, as well. Natalie, a nerdy, talkative and emotionally awkward younger Moroi, waves enthusiastically to Rose from throughout the room. Rose reluctantly has the same opinion to hold an eye on Natalie. Natalie joins Lissa and Rose as they go to church later that night. She chatters on ceaselessly about the today's gossip. She lets the nice pals understand that humans marvel the place Lissa bought her blood for the duration of their absence. A Moroi feeding off of their Dhampir guardian is a gross taboo in their culture. Also, in accordance to Natalie, Mia grew to be famous with the assist of cosmetics rapidly after Rose and Lissa ran away. The trio spots Mia standing with a crew of younger Moroi men. Rose disdains Ray. She calls him proof of inbreeding inside the Moroi's royal lineage, however is deeply attracted to Jesse. Lissa reminds Rose of Jess's jerkiness, and Rose consents that he's now not right for her. Jesse strolls over to see if he can reignite something between him and Rose, however Rose turns him away. Before heading into the church, Lissa and Rose pay their respects to a memorial committed to Lissa's family. In the center of the service, a large crash resounds from the narthex. Students rush to investigate. Rose discovers that any individual has defaced the memorial and that they additionally wrote, "Leave or die." She wishes to look at who has threatened Lissa. She has a feeling Mia geared up it, however Dimitri forbids her from doing anything. Rose strides over to Jesse and whispers to him, "I've modified my mind." She wishes to be bad. She and Jesse meet in one of the academy's many posh sitting rooms. Rose straddles him on a sofa and kisses him passionately. Jesse desires to go in addition with her, so out come his fangs. Rose brushes him away when he tries to feed on her, however Jesse continues attempting to spoil her pores and skin with his teeth. When Rose outright refuses to let him feed on her, he tells her he is aware of it truly as how Lissa survived in the human world, with the aid of feeding off of her. Rose admits she did let Lissa feed on her. News spreads quickly. The subsequent nighttime in class, Mia makes certain the trainer sees her passing a note. The trainer takes the observe to examine it aloud. In it, Mia tells her pal that she is aware of Lissa fed off of Rose and that Rose let Jesse and Ray have intercourse with her at the same time. Mia additionally accuses Lissa of killing the fox to obtain sympathy. Lissa tells the teacher that Mia is the usage of him to unfold malicious gossip. However, the instructor does not take kindly to her telling him how to do his job. Christian makes use of his hearth magic to set Ray on fire, which distracts the different college students from Lys's and Rose's bloodswapping, however additionally receives him dispatch